Shalom, shalom, shalom. Call hello, Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakal Dash, and of course, double honors go out to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who through the Holy Spirit continue to teach us His truth. All right, and deserve double honors. This is Naaman with the DC camp, and once again today I'm going to be going into this is one of two books that I purchased. That's has a whole lot of material by which to do videos, because it highlights all the lies that this devil has told about us. This is the first book, Dirty Little Secrets, all right, about black history, its heroes, and other troublemakers. The second book is More Dirty Little Secrets, all right, by Dr. Claude Anderson. And the second book, his son collaborated with him, all right. So in this one, it reads, Nation's richest were first draft dodgers. All right, you can see right here. Nation's richest, all right, hold on, let me get it in, were first draft dodgers. And this has been an ongoing thing since the inception of this nation, actually throughout history, all right, but we're focusing on America right now. And you know, our people just are a sucker, I guess you could say. They just don't get it. They just a gluttons for punishment would be more fitting. All right, you continually, and this is a sign of mental illness. All right, you're constantly, and that's how we've been talking about the last couple of weeks or so. We've been using the term gaslighting. All right, that applies here also, because you know, a little bit of Stockholm syndrome and all of this. All right, and our people just keep coming back for more punishment. You know, these people hate you. All right, this system is designed with you on the bottom with the intent. All right, where else are you going to go to earn a livelihood? You're especially in the inner cities. All right, a lot of jakes. What else do you have to look forward to? And again, this is by design. So you go into the military, you either get killed or you get damaged psychologically or physically or both. All right, and they, you know, you got to put up with all the crap when you go to the your local VA, wherever that may be. Some of them are miles and miles away. All right, depending on where you live in your state. All right. Anyway, it reads. It says the first military draft by the federal government, called the Enrollment Act, began in 1863. The first military draft by the government. All right. 1 year after the Confederate draft, the act required all men between the ages of 18 and 45 to register with local militia units and be available for national service. All right, that continues today. All right, selective service. It says there was an immediate negative reaction to the Draft Act. First, because the act exempted men in certain occupations, and those with physical disabilities or the ability to pay $300 for a substitute to stand in for them. As with the most recent drafts, this exemption allowed wealthy persons to stay home and profit from the Civil War. The same thing continues, right? It says those who protested the draft the loudest included J.P. Morgan, who soon became America's wealthiest man, Andrew Carnegie, not far behind Morgan, future President Grover Cleveland, then a young aspiring attorney, and the well-to-do fathers of Teddy and Franklin D. Roosevelt. These were but a few of the thousands who set out of the Civil War by paying others to go in their places. Since neither rich nor poor whites were willing to fight for freedom for black people, the cause of the war shifted from slavery to preserving the Union. All right, and you know that's a lie, because all you have to do is read the secession papers. All right. And then there's the whole Daughters of the Confederacy and their shenanigans with, especially in the South, with their involvement with the school curriculum. And that was done to make or to gain or garner sympathy for the South, making them look like really the heroes. All right. Continuing on, it says, the indifference to the plight and well-being of black people was a sad indictment of majority society. Even though blacks were the only racial or ethnic group who had fought in every major national conflict to gain and ensure freedom for white Americans, and whose mother country had never been at war with this nation. Wow. The greater number of northern whites did not and would not fight a war for black freedom. And on one of my last videos, I pointed out the fact that, in fact, I'll just do it again because it's right here. It goes, this is chapter 13 of this same book here. All right. And it says Civil War and Reconstruction. It says life has its own rewards and penalties. Many facts. All right. It says in 1860, I got it highlighted in orange, the top one. In 1860, if you can, all right, let me straighten it out there so you can freeze it. All right. In 1860, on the eve of the Civil War, a national report indicated that had Northerners voted to abolish slavery, probably no more than 2% would have done so. And it's estimated that in what was considered the North, you had a total population of around 20 million. So 2% of that would have been 400,000. So only 400,000 out of that 20 million would have said, what? Would have voted to abolish slavery. And here you are, you were taught that the North was, and that Harriet Tubman and all that, that was by design. All right. We keep telling you, all the brothers to argue here, and we stress the only reason you were never free, it was just a transference. You went from private ownership, because also in the same book it goes into talking about England was waiting for the South to win, because England was in partnership with the South because they made much money from the cotton industry. All right. So you see, it goes a lot deeper than that crap you were taught in school. So we were never free. Once the North won, they got a chance to. You went from private ownership to become wards of the state or government. Let's just say government, either state or federal. All right. So continuing on, it says, where was I? All right. Let's see. It says, they bitterly resented the draft law, and by the summer of 1863, angry protests and outbreaks of violence had occurred in every northern state. The headlines in one Pennsylvania paper read, willing to fight for Uncle Sam, but not for Uncle Sambo. Instead of fighting Confederate soldiers, Northerners turned on innocent and defenseless free blacks. For all you idiots out there, well, move to the North. This nation as a whole, they are the nation of Edom. So-called white people hate us. It's not because of the color of your skin, it's because of your nationality, who you really are. You are Israelites. All right? It's about the birthright. Continuing on. I'm going to read that again. Instead of fighting Confederate soldiers, Northerners turned on innocent and defenseless blacks, killing hundreds of them. According to written reports, many blacks were literally butchered. White draft rioters looted businesses, killed and terrorized blacks for nearly a full week before troops from West Point and Gettysburg battlefield arrived and restored calm. And that's another thing, whenever you want to hear, especially these people that came up in the last 15 15 or so years, the Tea Party, all right, they were talking about we don't want big government. Well, that was the thing behind that, because whenever we were getting our asses handed to us, guess who stepped in? On most of those occasions, it was the federal government. So you see, you gotta read read between the lines most of this, and because like Lee Atwater said, there's certain things you could say outright that you can't. So now you got to use what's the word I'm looking for? You got to more or less be slick about it. You got to use code. All right. So the reason I did this is because we as a people tend to, all right, this is Ecclesiastes 1:9. There's a thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. Our people still have the false sense of security, as far as we won't turn to the Most High. We'll turn to our enemies instead. Sad, but true. This is Lamentations 4:17. As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help. And this is a vain help. You're calling on the people, the same people, all right, that have been lynching, maiming, castrating, whatever you want to call it, murdering us for centuries, to come and help us. That's retarded. As for us, our eyes as yet fail for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a nation that could not save us. All right. They hunt our steps that we cannot go on our streets. Our end is near, our days fulfilled, for our end is come. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. A clue. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. That's making reference to Amalek and Numbers. All right. So, wow. I mean, it's the same old thing. So I pull this up in reference to this, and this is, of course, the only war I can think of that had its own soundtrack was the Vietnam War. All right. I mean, that's profound. All right. Whenever you think, I mean, this is just one song. I mean, whatever. I mean, this is for educational purposes, but I just want you to listen to a little bit for those of you that probably never heard it before. I can't imagine you haven't. It says in 1967 there were 486,000 American combat troops in Vietnam. This comes from, the movies. They had in the 80s, two very prominent Vietnam movies were Platoon and Full Metal Jacket. Alright. Some fortunate song from CCR. CCR, that's Creedence Clearwater Revival. Alright, Fortunate Son. Verse 1, it says, some folks are born made to wave the flag. You get a bunch of cheerleaders out there. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue. And when the band plays Hail to the Chief, ooh, they point the cannon at you, Lord. Of course, it ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no senator's son. It ain't me. It ain't me. I ain't no fortunate one. No. Verse 2, some folks are born silver spoon in hand. And these are the ones that got what they call deferments during it. That came up, that was, for the Vietnam era. That's that word, deferment, all right? Let's look that up real quick. All right. Trump was one, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Here it is. I believe, what's that other demon's name? Vice President under George W. Bush. I can't believe his name escapes me. Let's see. Let's go to Miriam. Cheney. Dick Cheney. Alright, and some others. Alright, and the act of delaying or postponing official postponement of military service. Let's see. Let's go to another one. It goes back, it says here to 1607. Okay. But I mean, you never really hear it until it's applied to the Vietnam War. At least I didn't. I'll put it that way. A lot of people grown up in Canada, and let's see, the act of, this is from dictionary.com, the act of deferring or putting off a temporary exemption from induction into military service. Why don't you just use exemption, all right, and beating around the bush, all right. And as it says here, back during the Civil War, you got, if you were able to pay that, you got someone to stand in your place, all right? And that's just all kinds of wicked. But these are the people, all right, you go over there and get blown to bits, or, this is a wicked society. But that's what our people get. Why? Because you put your hope and faith, and in fact, in these notes here, and let me go back, hold on. Lamentations 4 and 17, it says, for the Egyptians who were their pretended allies, but who were neither able nor willing to help them. Now, keep that in mind. I'm going to read it again when I go to Isaiah 30th chapter. All right, when you know the history behind this, with the Israelites and with the Assyrians on their ass, who did they go to? All right, as soon as this loads up, wow. Once again, Salaki, I apologize. It's just what I got. This is Isaiah chapter 30. Alright, verse 1. And it says, woe to the rebellious children, saith the Most High Yahweh, that take counsel but not of me, and that cover with a covering but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Alright? That walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked in my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt. Alright? And as a result, this is what happens. Therefore, verse 3, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. Alright? And a lot of these people, prime example of what's going on now with this vaccinations, alright? And a lot of our people are putting their faith in your enemy's science. And in the case of this latest victim, this Jake, she had pre-existing conditions, one of which she was grossly overweight, that she had diabetes. 2 hours after she took the shot, she's dead. Alright? You put your faith in this wicked kingdom, this wicked man, alright, and it cost you your life. Alright, this is Isaiah 31 and 1. Alright, still hasn't loaded. This This is Isaiah chapter 31 and 1. It says, woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and stay on horses and trust in chariots because they are many, and in horses because they are very strong. But they look not unto the Holy One of Israel, neither seek the Most High Yahweh, because our people have gotten comfortable, all right, under this wicked individual's wings, so to speak, the opposite of what you're supposed to be, under the wings of the Most High Yahweh, Shem Yahweh Shah, all right? But, as in Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, it says, let me get it real quick. I don't want to butcher it. Let our might, this is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2, verse 11, it says, let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth, all right? So you trust more in this devil's blessing than he does, apparently. All right, and his blessing is the sword. When you go back to Jacob and Esau, what was Esau's blessing? The sword. And that's how he gets everything, alongside, deceit and treachery and lies. All right. Let's see, did I have something else here? Oh, let's go to 36. This is Isaiah chapter 36, verse 6. It says, lo, thou trusteth in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereon if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh king of Egypt to all that trust in him. I just mentioned this last incident with this woman. I'm trying to remember where it was now. And the doctors just told the woman's daughter some straight up bullshit. It's anaphylaxis. And wow. So they're trying to still put this off as if it's blaming the victim for what happened. All right. Because ultimately they want our people to take this damn vaccine. All right. So, another example, if I can get out of this, because I want to read it to you. I have no clue as to what. All right, let's try this again. Let's go to Ezekiel 17. What happened with Zedekiah? All right. Another example. This is Ezekiel. Hopefully it loads. Oh boy. Ezekiel 17. Let's try this again. Ezekiel 17 and alright, let's go to heading here. It says Zedekiah's rebellion. Alright, so you know what I'm talking about. Let's go down here to 17. It says, neither shall Pharaoh with his mighty army and great company make for him in the war by casting up mounts and building forts to cut off many persons, seeing he despised the oath by breaking the covenant, when lo, he had given his hand and had done all these things, he shall not escape. Therefore thus saith the Most High Yahweh, as I live, surely mine oath that he hath despised, and my covenant that he hath broken, even it will I recompense upon his own head. Alright? And I will spread my net upon him, and he shall be taken in my snare, and I will bring him to Babylon, and will plead with him there for his trespass that he hath trespassed against me. And that's what our people don't understand. You are married. All right, you are under the covenant. This is an agreement between you and us and the Most High. Excuse me. All right. No one else. Don't believe or trust in this garbage, this replacement theology that your enemy, the nation of Edom, the so-called white man, has put out. All right. Because he's ultimately trying to wiggle his way in, and there's that ain't happening per Hebrews 12 chapters, verses 16 and 17. There's no hope for repentance for him, period. Alright, so let's see, did I go over my time? Yep. So with that, once again, this lesson has been from the book Dirty Little Secrets about black history, its heroes, and other troublemakers. And this particular lesson was nation's richest were first draft dodgers. All right. how that still applies. That's why I read Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. All right. So with that, I hope everybody's been edified and has viewed this, or will view it. That's what we aim to do here. All right. All in trying to wake up the remaining hopefully elect. So with that, shalom.